evening, I'm Jose Cardenas. A recap on the Super Bowl. We'll hear from a board member with the Arizona Super Bowl Host Committee and hear how Super Bowl 49 helped to build a green legacy in Arizona. Also get to know the first Hispanic elected to the Mesa City Council. Plus, find out about an organization providing educational resources that impact underserved students. That's all coming up next on Horizonte.
Funding for Horizonte is made possible by contributions by the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station.
Thank you for joining us. Super Bowl 49 played in front of the largest national TV audience in history. There were also efforts to make the big game more environmentally friendly. Joining me to talk about this and a recap of the whole event are David Farca, a board member with the Arizona Super Bowl Host Committee, and Jack Groh, NFL Environmental Program Director. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us on Horizonte. David, you were here just about a week or so ago. We were talking about what was coming up and the success that we hoped the event would have. I should disclose that I was on the host committee as well. It seems like everything went exceedingly well.
Yes, we're very excited about how things turned out. We broke a lot of records, attendance records. Super Bowl Central was fantastic. It gave the opportunity to a lot of people to experience the NFL without having to go to the game. Crowds were just incredible Saturday night on Super Bowl Central. Things like our social media following were through the roof. We exceeded the 4 previous Super Bowls combined in social media following. So we couldn't be more pleased with the results.
And all this despite some unusual weather, at least for Phoenix. We had a couple of days of rain there and pretty heavy fog on game day that went away, fortunately, before the game started.
Yeah, we had a beautiful day on Sunday, sunshine. We did have a little bit of rain before that, but as we say in Arizona, it was a dry rain.
Yeah, well, I want to come back and talk about some of the specifics, but Jack, I don't think people fully appreciate the level of effort that the NFL puts into this, particularly on the environmental front, and this is something that they've been doing for what, 20 plus years?
Yeah, 22 years ago we started an environmental program, and we did it in the Georgia Dome for Super Bowl 28, and it was the first stadium in America that had any kind of solid waste recycling, or there hadn't been any cans or bottles recycled before that one. So it was an interesting experiment to see if it would give us some more efficiency in our operations.
And like everything else about the Super Bowl, it's gotten bigger and broader over time. Give us a sense for the scope of activities this year in Arizona.
Well, we had a whole suite of programs here in Arizona, in addition to solid waste recycling, which was a great effort, and we had a lot of folks from the local community involved in that too. The day after, helping to clean up the stadium. That was a great one-of-a-kind project. But we've been doing food recovery for many years now, where we recover prepared food from the kitchens, and it goes to soup kitchens and shelters and other organizations. And the last time we were here in Phoenix, we set a Super Bowl record of recovering 90,000 pounds of food.
That was in 2008.
Right, in 2008. And we'll find out in about a week if we beat that record, because we're still counting up the non-perishable food. But then we also did, we're in the process now of recovering materials. We're working at the stadium, we're working downtown. All the vinyl, the fabric, the mesh, the building materials, the carpeting, all that stuff is being donated to local nonprofits. And it's a terrific partnership, especially the partnership here in the Phoenix area has been one of the best we've ever had. We've got Stardust Building, Salvation Army, we've got Treasures for Teachers, and we've also got Keep Phoenix Beautiful. And all of them are working together, because between those 4 agencies, there's hardly anything that they can't find a repurpose for. And then a couple of weeks ago, we did what we call our Super Kids Super Sharing Project, and that again was 3 times as big as it was last time we were here. We had 100 schools participate, and kids after Christmas vacation collected their used books, sports equipment, school supplies, and cell phones, and they brought them to this one big event at the Kroc Center, the Salvation Army Kroc Center.
That's in South Phoenix. Right?
In South Phoenix, and we had set a goal of seeing if kids could collect 10,000 items over the course of the program. When we got through the morning collection, individual kids had brought in 33,000 items, which were then to be donated to low-income schools and youth programs throughout the area. So this is a case where one kid says, gee, I got a lot, and I want to give to a kid who has less than me. And it's a very heartwarming thing. And then we do, the most recent projects we added were urban forestry, and we did that 10 years ago. We added urban forestry as part of our portfolio because it not only is good for the environment, but it leaves a permanent green legacy in each Super Bowl host community. And then the final piece of the puzzle was, what are we going to do about the energy usage at the stadium, convention center, team hotels? And so we did what we've done in past years. We negotiated a contract for renewable energy to power all those facilities for the time that we were here. And we got both local utilities, both SRP and APS participated in that program. SRP took care of the stadium campus, and APS took care of the downtown campus. So there's a lot that we're trying to address, and we're trying to do it in a way that not only lessens the environmental impact, but leaves some kind of a positive good behind.
David, when you were on last, we talked about one aspect of the committee's efforts was to emphasize our connections to Mexico, Arizona's largest trading partner. How did that go?
It was fantastic. The pavilion that Mexico had on Super Bowl Central on 3rd Street was really well received. A lot of visitors there.
That was the Visit Mexico group?
Correct.
And we've got some pictures we're going to put on the screen while you're talking that come from that exhibition.
Right. It was also a Super Bowl first to have a sponsor from a different country be part of those activities, an effort that we were really proud of. And that also helped bring our local Hispanic community into the mix. We determined that Thursday in Super Bowl Central, we called it Universo Football. So it really made our community welcome. Looking at their heritage, looking at that Mexico pavilion, also made them feel like it's a different Arizona today.
And one of the pictures we have on the screen right now is of the sand sculpture, and those are some major landmarks in Mexico City.
Right, and the sculptures themselves were brought from Mexico, and as you mentioned, with a couple of days of rain, that basically washed off, and they built it again, and it was incredible talent that people really recognized out there.
Now, how did our visitors from Mexico feel? The people were putting this on, and then I imagine we had a pretty sizable tourist contingent coming from Mexico as well.
Yeah, we estimated that around 10 to 12,000 people coming specifically from Mexico. That was a big success. The people that we talked to felt really welcome. It was weeks leading up to the event. There was a lot of international media calling it a Super Bowl with a Latin flavor, which really made them feel welcome. And I think that we should build on this for other Super Bowls, because as a host committee, we were able to raise a significant amount of funds from that market that really helped put together the event. And I think that building upon that will just benefit in future Super Bowls.
Jack, one of the major environmental initiatives that you all had was tree planting, and we've got a couple of pictures we want to show about that. Give us some of those details.
Well, we put together a grant program this year, and we had 3 pots of money to work with. The NFL put up some funding, and Verizon, which is the first sustainability sponsor of Super Bowl. Verizon's been activating with us for 2 years now, and then the host committee. So we put those funds together and started with a fund where we could then go out to local communities, ask them for proposals, and we would match their money that they put into trees. And we were able to do 5 projects already, and they were beautiful projects. We did them 2 in Phoenix, we did Mesa, we did Glendale, and we just had a great time with it, and folks really enjoyed it because it was a project that the community themselves wanted to do. So we weren't coming in and saying, we want to plant trees in your community. We came in and said, where would you like to plant trees in your community? And we'll help you do that. And we're going to have a couple more in the spring too.
And I understand one of the most successful projects was in Glendale itself.
Yeah, that was a terrific project. That was at Saguaro Ranch, and of course they provide citrus fruit. About 50 tons of fruit gets harvested there each year by volunteers, and it all goes to St. Mary's Food Bank, which, as most folks know, that was the first food bank in America, a very historic organization. And so we went out and we replaced about 3 dozen of their older trees that had been diseased or had died. And while we were out there, we had a couple hundred volunteers picking fruit. We even had Pro Bowl cheerleaders out there picking grapefruit. So it was a lot of fun. It was very colorful.
Now, I understand it's not easy to put a dollar value on this, but there are some estimates as to the impact of the environmental initiatives. And what would you say about this year's Super Bowl in that regard?
the total return on investment from our projects has increased dramatically over the years, and this year was, if not the highest, at least one of the highest returns on investment. And the way we measure that is we look at one figure, which is how much did the NFL benefit financially from it? Did we cut our waste hauling bills? Did we reduce some of our costs of event production? That's a minor part of it. The big part of the return on investment to us is how much did we invest into the community. So all the materials that are being brought down and donated, there's more than $500,000 of raw materials there that are being donated to various nonprofits. The food, we don't know the value on it yet, but last time we were here, the food bank estimated that about $150,000 worth of food was recovered from events and then donated. So when we start to add all this stuff up, there's a huge return on our investment that goes to the local community. And some folks might say, well, return on investment, shouldn't you be getting the money? We're getting the value, from my opinion on this, is we're getting the value of being a good guest in the community, of doing something of value in the community, and all that can do is just build the brand of Super Bowl and build the brand of the NFL as we go forward.
And David, speaking of building on the success of the Super Bowl, I mean, there will be a lot of information about the economic impact, the immediate economic impact. But there were a number of things you touched on. One of them, the CEO Forum, that are designed to provide benefits going on into the future. So just as kind of a wrap up, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that came from the idea that we had a couple of CEOs back in 2008 in the Super Bowl. They came on their own, and that's how they got to see Arizona, and they made large investments in the valley. So taking that as an empirical situation and turning it into a real program, we came up with a CEO program. So during this week, we hosted about 65 CEOs from not only around the country, but around the world, showcasing Arizona, what Arizona offers. It was cheerleadered by our governor, Governor Ducey. So we had a great panel on Friday morning. We had different activities for them to really know what Arizona has to offer from a business perspective. So the economic impact that we had this week is one part of it, but we think that we will have a longer term economic impact because of programs like our CEO Forum.
So Seattle Seahawks fans may be a little disappointed, probably a lot disappointed in how it turned out, but it was a great event. Thank you both for joining us on Horizonte to talk about it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jose.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
David Luna became the first Hispanic elected to the Mesa City Council when voters elected him in August of 2014. He was appointed to fill the vacant District 5 seat in September of 2013. Here with me now is Mesa City Council member for District 5, David Luna. David, welcome back to Horizonte.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
You've been a guest before.
Yes.
Congratulations on your
Thank you so
victory.
much.
And it was a big victory, all the more significant, not only because you're the first Hispanic elected, but the district you represent is only 11% Hispanic.
That's correct. So I was able to convince the majority of the people living in that district that I was the right candidate for that position. So I'm very appreciative that they decided to vote for me.
And it was a significant margin of victory, about 20%. And from what I understand of the news accounts, it was very much a gentleman's race. I mean,
right.
You even said some nice things about your opponent.
He was a great guy, and I got to meet him. We met several times and talk about the issues relative to our district, and And so it was a very cordial race, and I was able to be successful.
Now, I think given some of the more recent issues in Mesa, people would be surprised to hear about a cordial race involving an Hispanic who won big. What are the issues, though, that are facing the city, and why do you think people came out in such strong numbers to vote for you?
I think people came in strong numbers to vote for me simply because they knew of my record and my past history. I've been very involved in the Mesa community for many, many years. I've been involved in many nonprofits. I was named Citizen of the Year in 2012. I had a lot of community experience. I'm well acquainted with many members of the community, so they certainly understood my community service, and I think they favored that. They felt, well, he's the right person. Plus, my educational credentials, my academic credentials, I think, helped get me to that level. So I was very fortunate to be able to get where I was at in terms of my voting.
We also have a new mayor.
Yes.
John Giles replacing Scott Smith.
Right.
And a new initiative, One Mesa. Tell us about that.
The One Mesa initiative is an effort from the Human Relations Advisory Board to promote diversity within the city of Mesa. As you know, the Human Relations Board conducted a survey and determined, through the Morrison Institute from Arizona State University, and determined that there was some level of individuals in the community that didn't feel part of the community. So this is an effort to try to bring diversity, to bring the entire community together, so that we are a city that is welcoming to any member that wants to come and reside and work within our community. So I'm very excited about the mayor's initiative to try to get that and to move that forward.
Now, that's an initiative to reach out to Hispanics within Mesa, but as I understand it, you're also spearheading some efforts to reach out to Arizona's largest trading partner,
Absolutely,
Mexico.
Absolutely. I've been working with the Bien Initiative through the Maricopa Association of Governments. In fact, I went to Hermosillo to look and talk about trade and commerce between Hermosillo and the city of Mesa. As you know, Phoenix and Tucson have a center located in Mexico City. So I felt incumbent that we need to look at Mexico as a potential trading partner. Certainly in the area where I live, in Falcon Field area, certainly something that I'm very interested in and trying to advance and to move forward. So I'm very excited about that. We had some wonderful conversations when we went to Hermosillo. In fact, next week I'm going to be hosting the consulate from Mexico to come into Mesa and to let them know that we are a welcoming community. We want to work with Mexico. We want to continue to spur economic development and commerce and trade.
One of the issues you got to deal with is finding a new police chief. The governor appointed yours to be
Yes.
head of DPS.
Yeah.
What's involved there, and what are you looking for in terms of the chief law enforcement official there?
Certainly we want somebody that's sensitive to the needs of the community. We lost Frank Milstead. He was a great chief. And we do have John Mesa, who will be serving as interim. And certainly we want to continue to promote the city of Mesa and let the incoming police know that we want somebody that represents the entire community and can work well and can understand the sensitivity of the needs of the entire community.
Councilman Luna, again, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on
It's a
Odisha.
pleasure being here.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
To find out more information about what's on Horizonte, go to azpbs.org and click on the Horizonte tab at the top of the screen. There you can access many features to become a more informed Horizonte viewer. Watch interviews by clicking on the video button or by scrolling down to the bottom of the page for the most recent segments. Learn about more specific topics like arts and culture and immigration. You can also find out what's on Horizonte for the upcoming week. If you would like an RSS feed, a podcast, or you want to buy a video, that's all on our website too. Other features include our collection of website links and a special page for educators. While you're there, show your support for Horizonte with just one click. Discover all that's on Horizonte. Visit azpbs.org, Horizonte today.
When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
My Brother's Keeper Brother Up Forum, Connecting Solutions to Action, was held last month. The effort was part of the My Brother's Keeper Community Challenge launched by President Obama in September 2014. The forum was sponsored by the Checkered Flag Run Foundation, which provides diverse educational programs that help underserved students. Here to talk about the forum is Alan A.P. Powell, founder and chairman of the Checkered Flag Run Foundation. Mr. Powell, thank you for joining us on
Thank you so much,
Horizonte.
sir.
What's particularly impressive about all the work that you're doing in this area is you've got a day job that keeps you pretty busy as it is, and yet you find time to give back to the community. Tell us what inspired you to do that.
Well, growing up in the inner city in Louisville, Kentucky, I felt part of my legacy would be making a difference in other people's lives. So I wake up every morning figuring how I can make other people's lives better.
You're based here in Arizona.
Yes, sir.
You do work all over the country.
Yes, sir. I'm based here. I've been in the Valley about 6 years now. I love it. I come from California and New York. That's where I resided before I moved to Arizona.
Before we get to some of your specific projects, tell us about the Checkered Flag Run Foundation. What does it mean? Why the reference to the checkered flag?
Where our motto is ensuring that every kid gets a chance to cross the finish line. And we really take that serious, our mission statement. So some of the things that we do, we have a program where we have a backpack drive we do every year called Phoenix Tools for School. We give about 3,000 to 4,000 backpacks out every year at Lolo's Chicken and Waffle on 7th Street in Buckeye. We also have a thing called another called Drive Your Mind, which is a community piece where we give out Christmas toys and things to children in the community. And we have another one called we have another program called To the Top Scholarships, where we partner with the University of Phoenix and we give scholarships back into the community.
Let's talk about your most recent action, the forum that was held on the Saturday before the Super Bowl game itself. The forum, and I understand Mayor Stanton was part of that. What did you do there?
Well, I went to the mayor and I went to Congressman Gallego and Councilwoman Kay Gallego, and I thought that we should make a difference and take advantage of all the people being in town Super Bowl weekend. So me coming from the entertainment business, I reached out to some gentlemen that I knew were distinguished gentlemen across the country, everybody from Damon John from Shark Tank and Boris Kodjoe, who was picked as the most beautiful man in the world, and an African-American actor, and everybody from General Spider Marks, who used to be the Joint Chief of Intelligence for the Armed Forces. So we kind of assembled that group along with some local community leaders like Kerwin Brown from the Black Chamber, Michael Kelly, who moderated it, who's a local community activist.
And somebody we've had as a guest on this show. So we're quite familiar with his credentials, and pretty impressive fellow. You've got a very, very aggressive major project coming up. It's in the planning stages, as I understand, and it's going to be, if you're successful, it's going to have a major impact on the city and the country.
Yes, sir. So a colleague of mine, Taniqua Brogdon, and myself, we thought that we could make a difference by bringing something diverse to the state of Arizona. So I talked to Governor Ducey about it. I talked to Mayor Stanton about it. I talked to Councilwoman Kay Gallego. I talked to Congressman Gallego about let's bring something substantial, diverse, to kind of change the image of our state. So what we decided to do is create a thing called the Cactus City Classic, which is a multicultural basketball tournament that will be held in Arizona in February around MLK weekend to kind of acknowledge our state and show that our state is moving in the right direction.
This is several years off.
Yes, sir. In 2017, when we will move this event here to Arizona, there is a duplicate event in Charlotte, and they bring about 250,000 people to Charlotte every year. It's called the CIAA. So we decided to duplicate that. What our efforts has been with Thurgood Marshall Fund, which is the largest African American college fund in the country. They service over 300,000 students a year.
Now, if people want to get involved to help support your organization, how would they do that?
You could reach out to us online at CFRF.org, checkerflagrunfoundation.org, or you can call us at our office. We have an 800 number, 800-876-8606.
Now, I want to go back and talk a little bit about the connection between your organization, your efforts, the forum and everything, with the initiative that President Obama started. What's the connection?
I think what we wanted to do was accept the president's challenge and making a difference in our youth's lives in Arizona, and then educating our youth on some of the things that face our country, like being able to interact with the police, being able to show them that education is important, being able to show some of these students that everybody has a chance to be successful in life, and being able to make sure that we brought leaders in that could tell their story and they could adopt some of the dialogue from these leaders to feel like they could be successful also.
You've been at this for a few years now. What kind of impact do you think you and your programs have had?
I think we've had a great impact because we've had serious support locally and on a national level. We've had everybody from Andrew Cohen, who chaired up the aviation board at Sky Harbor, who's a big businessman here, support us. We've had everybody from Bubba Moffitt and his crew and Joe Cotroneo at Crescent Crown. We've had a lot of the community leaders get behind us, and a lot of the business leaders believe in what our message is.
And you've been able to do all this with a fairly small group of organizers. Tell us just a little bit about the organization itself, and we're going to have to wrap up in about 30
We have a
seconds.
very small group. It's myself, Taniqua Brogdon, Lynn Austin, and we have a gentleman named Aaron Baer, who is a big-time educator here. He was the entrepreneur residency at Thunderbird, and he's embraced our movement too. So we have a very innovative and a group that wants to move forward and do things different and make a difference in the state of Arizona.
Well, it certainly looks like you've done that. Mr. Powell, thank you for joining us on Horizonte to give us a rundown of your activities.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's our show for tonight. From all of us here at 8 and Horizonte, thank you for watching. I'm Jose Cardenas. Have a good evening.
Funding for Horizonte is made possible by contributions by the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station.